And when I come to talk about KULMHOF, this to me is the most amazing thing. We're talking here about a village where people live, Poles and Germans, and in the middle of the village is a death camp. So this is not some secret, yeah? Everybody knows what's going on. Again, some more photos from the Littmanstadt ghetto. So, that just gives you a bit of background on what we're talking about in terms of the Jewish population of Wartheland, Waldlager, the ghettos, etc. Now I'm going to move on to talk about KULMHOF and Chelmno. So Chelmno is the Polish name for Chelmno, obviously. KULMHOF is the German name. We, in our work, we tend to use the name Chelmno in relation to the village. And when we speak specifically about the death camp, we use the word KULMHOF. So, just to give you a bit of view on where Chelmno is. So, we're talking about the district of Wartheland. It's a German name. Kolo is the Polish name. So, Chelmno, as we see here, is a small village between Kolo and Dąbie, which is in the south. Now Chelmno is about 14 kilometers from Kolo and about 60 kilometers from Littmanstadt, Lodz. So this just gives you a bit of the scale about how far these places are away. Kolo is on the main railway line between Lodz and Warsaw, or Littmanstadt and Warsaw. Also interesting here, during the First World War, when the Germans came this way, they built a narrow gauge railway in this area. And there was, until after the Second World War, the narrow gauge railway still existed, and it went from Spurensuche, which is north of Kolo, all the way down to Dąbie. So this was used in the First World War, obviously, for transporting troops, goods, etc. The Poles obviously took it over after the First World War and used it for transporting agricultural products. The village of Chelmno, it is a tiny place. It has approximately 35 houses, or it did then. It's got a few more now, as everywhere. Towns and villages are always expanding. So there were approximately 35 houses. It's a normal, small village in Poland, stroke Germany. It's got a church, which is the most prominent feature of the village. There is a rectory across the road from the church. You have a village hall, a school, a shop, a fire station, and an old manor house. These are primarily the buildings. The other buildings are living places. The total population of the village in 1939, at the time of the German occupation, was about 200 persons. Mostly, if not all, Poles. From 1940, 14 Volksdeutsch families from Eastern Europe were brought to Chelmno to resettle the village. So this is, I haven't got exact numbers on how many people this is, but if you look at the average family sizes in this time, you're probably talking about 90 people. So there's 90 Volksdeutsch living in the village from 1940. But this is the most interesting thing for me. Some of the Poles were taken away or sent away. Not all. So this village in 1940 and 41 is a mixture of Volksdeutsch and Poles. So this is not just an isolated Volksdeutsch German community. It's a mixed community. And primarily the Volksdeutsch, they're given farms, etc., etc. So it's a farming community. There's nothing else there apart from farming. Technology is too clever. Please, okay, good. This is a map of Chelmno. This was prepared by Judge Bednash. Now, Judge Bednash very interesting figure. He was a member of the Polish Commission for the Investigation of Nazi War Crimes. For us, he's a bit of a hero, because the techniques he used back in 1945 when he did his investigation of Chelmno are the techniques we like to use. Very practical man. He visited the places, he talked to people, he thought about what was going on. He wasn't just sitting there with some documents, etc., and putting together his report. He actually went there and interviewed in excess of 100 people to find out what they knew about the operation of KULMHOF Death Camp. So he drew this very interesting map. He did such a detailed job. He noted which families lived in which house in the village, and he tried to track down every family and interrogate them as to what they knew about the operation of the death camp. So as you can see here, it's a very small place. The places we were interested in are, this is the church. Next to the church here is the old manor house, or the palace as it became known. Up here we've got the fire station. Here I think is the school, and here is the rectory. And there is one main road. This is called Dombie at the bottom. Here we have the river Nair, so it's Chelmno am there. Further up, the Nair joins the Wartheland river, as we'll see later. So, and obviously here is the narrow gauge railway, and there is a little station stop in Chelmno with a little station where they loaded or unloaded farm produce. So this is it. This is Chelmno village. It's a tiny place. It hasn't changed much. If you've ever been there, it's it's like walking back in time a bit. This is there aren't so many photos of Chelmno, unfortunately. There aren't even many photos existing pre-war. This is one of the few photographs that exist. This is a picture from the Nair River looking up to Chelmno. So obviously you can see very prominently the church with the church spire. You can see there's a few houses at the back, as we saw from the previous documents, and obviously the main road runs through the top there. This is a comparison photograph we took in 2006. So as you see, it really has not changed much at all. It's a sleepy little place. This, for me, is one of the iconic photos. This is a picture. You see the church on the left. This is the main road that runs through Chelmno village. So we're heading here north to Colo, running this way. What we're looking at on the right hand side, unfortunately ruined after the war, is the school building. So this is the remnants of the fence of the school building. So the school building sat on the right. One of the most interesting and iconic things for me about Chelmno Death Camp, there was an operating school here when the death camp is in operation. Now, I'll show you soon. The death camp is the other side of the church. This is 100 meters from the school to the death camp. The death camp operates all the time. This is an operating village. The Germans have not said to the Poles and Volksdeutsch, go away, we want an empty village to do our deeds. It's operating, it's a livable village. There's parties, yeah? The Nazis have parties in some of the buildings. The local Poles clean the houses and the flats of the SS and Schutzpolizei. This is an operating village. You can drive through here. Well, you could drive through there at the time, but this is not like Auschwitz, where there's a industrial zone which is, at different areas has guard posts and you're not allowed to go in there. You can go in here anytime you like during the time. So for me this is very iconic. I always had this view for many years that this was a secret process. Killing the Jews was a secret process. This was no secret process. Everybody knew. Poles, Germans, everybody knew. They could see it. So to me, I still have difficulty understanding, in a way, this whole concept. I think the myth has grown up that somehow the Holocaust was a secret. Certainly there was no secret in occupied Poland. Everybody knew. In fact, I've got a very interesting book from 1943 published in America by, I think it's the Polish Information Bureau. This includes a 20-page report on KULMHOF death camp, and it is almost word for word correct. This is not the normal type of reports you get from the time, which are thin on the facts and the evidence. This is detailed stuff, talking about the use of gas fans, etc., etc. So this is no secret. Everybody knows what's going on. The Polish government in exile in London has all the information on Chelmno. This is probably, at the time, much better known than, say, Sobibor, Treblinka, Belzec. But after the war, it's become forgotten. But at the time, everybody knows what's happened here. It's detailed information. This is a picture taken from during the war. This is the priest's home, the rectory across the road from the church. This was used as the commandantur of KULMHOF death camp. So this is just a small building. This is where they kept the files. This is where they had their small office for... I have some evidence that there were some clerks, German clerks worked here, women who came from Posen. This is just a small office to organize the operation of the KULMHOF death camp. This is the fire station, which still exists, as you can see on the right. The fire station was used as billeting for Schutzpolizei, who came to KULMHOF to guard the camp and help the SD and Gestapo in terms of the organisation of the death process. So again, obviously this building still exists. Unfortunately, this building doesn't, because again, this is rather iconic for me. The picture on the left is a picture of the canteen. This is 20 meters. This is just across the road from the death camp. So on the left here is the entrance to the palace, the death camp. This is where the canteen stood. So I have some testimonies from SD Gestapo men who were interrogated in the 60s for the Chelmno trial about and a very good one from a chap called Gustav Labs, who was one of the gas fan drivers. He used to go in there after his day's work for a few beers and just to have a bit of fun. And they used to chat about things and just like a normal job. In the canteen were Poles. Polish women were serving and cooking meals. So this is obviously the Polish women who are working in the canteen, they can hear what's going on. I mean, they know what's going on. And the SD and Gestapo are not just sitting there talking about the weather. So, again, interesting for me is the mindset of the Nazis at the time. This is no secret.